Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to add a background image so that you can see an aerial photo behind this stuff and make better sense of where you're at. And I'm also going to show you how to design a project, so test a new infrastructure idea and see how demand reacts to that. So the first thing we'll do is we'll add an image. So what you do is you go to this thing and there's an image option, so you click that. Well, yeah, all right. I've already preset some of this stuff, so we'll just show you how I did it. So I made an image from Google Earth. I just called it St. George for Cube, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in and say OK. And this is what happens. So it just puts in the image kind of where it wants to. Basically, it's the X and Y base point is down here on the lower left, and then it has a scaling factor for everything else. So what we need to do now is we need to adjust the base point to the correct location. So let me show you how I picked a location. So over here in Google Earth, this is what I did. So I went to Google Earth and I tried to find a point for the lower left that I would be able to recognize. And I said, all right, I want to propose a change to this area. So that's the area that I'm going to capture. And and I want to base it off of, so I'm going to go clear up here to this, and this point right here is going to be my lower left. So what I did the next was type in snip and got a snip and like this, and I'll just do it for you. I went down here to this lower left point and I said right there is the bottom of what I want, and this interchange up here on the top right is the top of what I want. So then in snip you can see that it grabbed it, and then I just save it and remembering this lower left point. So I already did that in here and I have that, but so now I need to locate within my network where exactly is that lower left point. So I know it's over here someplace, and this is where I know it to be. So it's right here at this spot right here. So one of the things that I can do is click on this node, and what it shows is the X and the Y position of that node. Alternatively, I can also just kind of hover over this and down here in the lower left. So watch, you can see the cursor is moving X and Y like that. But it'll be more precise if I just type it out of here. So what I need to do is I need to get that X. So Control C, and now I'm going to go into the image. I'm going to say the X that I want is this one, and I don't remember the Y, so I'll just go ahead and adjust, and you can see that it already has adjusted the left edge of the image to there. And the right that I want is this one. So go back in here and type in the Y. All done. Okay, so now it's moved that image pretty much to the spot that I wanted it in. And but now let's see how the scale is. So you can see that this is the interchange that was my upper right corner, but it's now way over here, so the scale is way too big. So I need to adjust that. So I'm going to just guess. Let's see what it says. Okay, it says it's 9. The scale is 9, so I'm going to guess that maybe really 4 is closer to what I want. Okay, it got a lot better, but it's not all that great. It's close, so I'm going to try it again. And I think it might need to go a little lower too. So I'm going to say 3.6, and 3.4. I already know this partly because I did it before I started the tutorial. And there you go. So I have pretty closely landed on the right spots. Now, it may not be exact, but that could be because the GIS data or whatever it is that the network was built on is different, or the aerial photo, they're in a different projection. Who knows? But it's close enough for what I want to do. Let me show you the reason that I'm even starting to do this. So I'll open up this network and show you the reason. So I'm going to hit the zoom button, go down here, and some of the most significant congestion in the St. George area is right here in this I-15 corridor, Bluff Street. There's a pretty good road over here, but it's very poorly utilized because people just can't really reach it very well. And so I have an idea for how to improve this situation so that St. George Boulevard is not so bombarded, and so that's why I'm here studying this site. So right now I'm on the master network, and it's showing the lanes. So if I click on one of these links, the scenario that I'm modeling is LN2350. Okay, so I've opened this up to see exactly what it is that represents the okay. So the model run that I have already run is the one that I just showed all that congestion on, is LRP 2050. And when I come here, I can see that the lane field is LN2350 and the functional type is 2350. So these are the two fields that I want to now base a new one off of. So I'm going to close this, go back to here, and I'm going to add a new field. So link at link attribute add new, and I'm going to call this, and then it's a numeric field, and I actually need another one. I'm going to call this one FT 23 frontage roads. Okay, and hit cancel. So now when I click on the link here, I can scroll down here to the bottom, and I will see the two that I just added. They're right here. So there's like a huge number of these in here, and you could also like rename one of them instead of adding more. That's an option, but I won't worry about that for now. So we're just going to work with the ones that we have. The next thing you want to do is compute. So you have to go here to link compute, and I'm going to right click, insert, and hopefully this thing will work this time. So okay, that time it worked. It doesn't always work, but it did this time. And I'm going to say my new thing right there is equal to, oh, it didn't work that time. I hate this cube sometimes. So it's just going to be LN23_50. So I'm just going to say first I want to set my new field equal to my old field. And all items now, apply. Okay. Now I'm going to edit the thing, and I'm going to change LN to FT, and apply. Okay. So now what I've got is an exact copy of the previous run. So I had like a 2050 no build, let's call it, or a 2050 plan, the regional plan, versus my new idea for 2050. So I first have to copy the plan in. Now the next thing I'm going to do is start modifying the system, and the system that I have in mind is going to have one-way streets, one-way frontage roads. So I need to go to the Home tab and post arrows like this, and this puts an arrow on every street that's a one-way street. The next thing I want to do is go to color and do an offset. I'll do an offset of 2, and this is showing, now this shows both sides of a two-way road, plus it shows the one-way road. And all right, so the next thing, what do I need to do now? So what I need to do now is start to modify my scenario. So I'm going to add links, and I'm also going to change links. But one of the things I know I'm going to do is make this frontage road here that's currently a two-way frontage road, I'm going to make that into a one-way frontage road. So so to do that, I need to click on the direction that I want to delete, and then I got to get rid of it. So I come down here to this, and I'm going to say it's 0, but the other side is still going to be 3. Okay, and I don't know. Oh, okay. The reason that it didn't change color is because I haven't changed my color map yet. So I'm still mapping some other thing. Okay, so right here you can see that I'm showing actually the 2019 lanes, and I don't want to do that. I want to show the 2050 lanes. So I've got to create a VPR file that has the 2050 lanes in it. And that's unfortunate because there's not a good way in Cube to copy these color sets. So I can either, so I can do a couple of ways. One way to do this is I can get my little snip tool and just capture what those colors are and put it on my, I have a 2-screen computer, so now I can put this thing over on the left screen. Okay, so I'm back and I have finished setting my colors, and what I've done, just so you can see it, is I've said here's my lanes in 2050. You can see they're a little different than before. The frontage road here that was 2 lanes each direction before and blue has now turned red because it's 3 lanes each direction. So it's getting really big. This is like a 7-lane arterial here next to a 3 lanes each direction on the freeway. Plus there's a 5-lane section over here. So there's a crazy number of lanes going through here, but it's all very inefficient and it's not a very good design if you ask me. So I'm going to propose a different one in the model to see if it actually is better in terms of managing traffic, better in terms of reducing the number of lanes, and ultimately better in terms of cost effectiveness too. So let's test that. So now this is 2050, and what I did was I also made another thing called 2050 FR. So I'm going to copy that, Control C, double click, Control V, double click, Control V, Control V. And I also want to just add FR to this one and close. Okay, so one of the things that you immediately see is that the lane right here that I typed a 0 in has now turned dotted line. So that means that it's off. And so the one that you click is in the left column. So let me show you how that works. So if I type here and put 0 and hit the save arrow, then that turns that way. If I click the other side now, notice that the left column is now the 3 and the 0 has moved over to the right column. So it's the left column that's always the active one, and so there's a 0 there. So I'm going to now also click here, type a 0 in there, and I'll hit my pan button, and I'm going all the way up. And if it's starting to get tedious, and it is getting a little tedious for me, then let me show you how to compute things. So what I want to do is I'll go here to this compute, and I'm going to actually I'm not gonna name that spot yet, but I won't delete it either. I'm going to insert a row, and I'm going to say I want this lane field to become equal to 0. But I don't do it for all items now because that would be crazy. That would eliminate everything in my network. I'm going to just do it when item changed. And then you can have some kind of condition. But then the next thing I have to do is auto calculate on and apply. And then now I'm set up, and what I have to do next is hit this update button. That's what you do next. So then I can click, and it automatically applies the calculation that's set up. So, all right, so I'm not totally sure I know how to resolve this part yet, but I'm thinking that that's a good place. I can stop doing that for now. And I go back to this update, push the update button again. And I know I also want to do this side of the road. And so I'm going to go down here like that. And you have to be careful because I don't want to click on the wrong one. And okay, so that's pretty good. All right, so now I have made those into one-way streets by getting rid of the side of the road that I didn't want. All right, so there's a whole lot more work to do here. I may just pause and do some of it, but I'll show you some of it too. But first I need to get out of this auto calculate mode. So I think if I hit no, escape doesn't work. But what I need to do next is go back to compute and turn off this auto calculation button and then hit close. So now it's back. Because if the auto calculate button is on, then it'll just start turning off links anytime I click on one. So I have to turn that off. All right, so this is good, and I'm going to just save my network because I don't want to lose the work that I just did.